Think about the last time you tried something completely new. Maybe it was learning a new skill, picking up an old hobby, or even just trying out a new piece of technology. How did it feel? Exciting? A little nerve-wracking? Maybe even a bit frustrating at first? That feeling of stepping into the unknown is something we often associate with younger years. But here's the thing. Learning isn't reserved for the young. In fact, continuing to learn as we age isn't just possible, it's essential. And yet, so many people believe that after a certain age, they're too old to start fresh. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh, I'm too set in my ways," or "I just can't learn like I used to"? Maybe you've even thought it yourself. But what if I told you that your brain is still wired for growth, no matter how many candles were on your last birthday cake? Science backs this up. Our brains have an incredible ability to adapt and form new connections, even later in life. So let's talk about why it's never too late to learn something completely new. Whether it's mastering a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or simply figuring out how to use that new smartphone, the benefits of learning stretch far beyond just gaining a skill. In this video, we're going to explore the real reasons why learning keeps your mind sharp, builds confidence, gives you a sense of purpose, sparks creativity, and proves that growth is lifelong. And by the end of this, you might just be inspired to start something new yourself. Before we dive in, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever learned something new later in life? What was it, and how did it make you feel? Your experiences could inspire someone else who's watching. And if you find value in discussions like this, consider subscribing and joining our growing community. Together, we're proving that life after 60 is still full of new possibilities. Now, let's start with the first big reason why it's never too late to learn: keeping your mind sharp. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to stay mentally quick and engaged well into their 80s and 90s? It's not just good genetics. There's actually a powerful connection between lifelong learning and brain health. Studies show that people who regularly challenge their minds through learning tend to have better memory, sharper thinking skills, and even a lower risk of cognitive decline. Think of your brain like a muscle. Just like how lifting weights strengthens your body, engaging in new learning experiences strengthens your mind. When you learn something unfamiliar, your brain forms new neural pathways. These pathways help improve memory, concentration, and problem-solving skills. And the best part? It doesn't have to be something complex. Even small challenges, like learning a new word every day or trying out a different way of doing things, can help keep your mind active. Take something as simple as learning how to play chess or solving a crossword puzzle. Have you ever sat down with a tricky puzzle and felt that little spark of satisfaction when you figured it out? That's your brain getting a workout. And every time you do something mentally stimulating, you're reinforcing those cognitive pathways, making your brain more resilient over time. But keeping your mind sharp isn't just about avoiding memory loss or staying mentally agile. It's also about staying engaged with life. Have you ever met someone who's always curious, always asking questions, always excited to learn? Those are the people who seem the most alive. They don't see aging as a time to slow down. They see it as a time to explore. And that's exactly the mindset we need to embrace. So, if you've ever felt like your memory isn't what it used to be, or you've worried about keeping your mind active, the answer isn't to slow down. It's to keep learning. Start with something that interests you. Maybe it's a new hobby, a new book, or even just exploring a topic you've always been curious about. The important thing is to stay engaged, to challenge yourself, and to never stop being curious about the world around you. And speaking of challenges, this brings us to something just as important: the confidence that comes with learning new things. Because, let's be honest, there's something incredibly empowering about proving to yourself that you can still master something new. And in part 2, we're going to explore exactly how lifelong learning builds confidence in ways you might not expect. Think about the last time you accomplished something you didn't think you could do. Maybe it was figuring out how to use a new smartphone, fixing something around the house on your own, or even just learning a new game. Do you remember how good it felt? That sense of pride, that little boost of confidence that made you feel like, hey, I can do this. Confidence isn't something that just belongs to the young. It's something we build through experience, through trial and error, and most importantly, through learning. And that's exactly why picking up something new, at any stage of life, can give you a confidence boost like nothing else. One of the biggest myths about aging is that we're somehow supposed to slow down, stick to what we know, and avoid anything that feels too difficult or unfamiliar. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, the more we challenge ourselves, the stronger and more capable we feel. And the best part? That confidence doesn't just stay in one area of life, it spills over into everything else. Let's say, for example, you decide to take up painting. Maybe you've never held a paintbrush before, and at first it feels awkward. Your first few attempts don't look like much, and you might even think, maybe I'm just not good at this. But then something clicks. You figure out a new technique, you start seeing improvement, and suddenly you're creating something you never thought you could. That feeling, that shift from doubt to confidence, is one of the most rewarding parts of learning. And it's not just about the skill itself. When you prove to yourself that you can learn one new thing, it makes you realize you're capable of much more than you thought. This applies to everything, from technology to social skills to new hobbies. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. Maybe you've been hesitant to use online banking or video calls because technology seems overwhelming. But the moment you take that first step and push past the fear, you start to build trust in yourself. And here's something even more powerful. Confidence isn't just about what you can do, it's about how you feel. When you feel capable and independent, it changes the way you see yourself and the way others see you. It makes you more willing to take on new opportunities, to engage with the world, and to embrace all the possibilities that life still has to offer. Have you ever noticed how people who stay active and engaged tend to have a certain energy about them? They carry themselves differently. They speak with excitement. That's confidence in action. It's the result of continuously proving to yourself that you are still growing, still learning, still becoming the best version of yourself. And the beauty of learning is that it doesn't have to be a solo journey. In fact, one of the greatest aspects of picking up something new is the opportunity to connect with others. Whether it's joining a class, finding an online community, or simply sharing your progress with friends and family, learning brings people together in ways that are deeply fulfilling. Have you ever had the experience of teaching someone else something you've just learned? Maybe showing a grandchild how to bake a special recipe, or explaining a new skill to a friend? There's something incredibly rewarding about passing on knowledge and seeing the excitement in someone else's eyes. Learning isn't just about personal growth. It's about sharing, connecting, and being part of something bigger. And that sense of connection leads us to something even more meaningful: the sense of purpose that learning provides. Because beyond just sharpening your mind or building confidence, learning gives us something to look forward to, something to work toward. It keeps life exciting and meaningful. So, in part 3, we're going to explore how learning can provide a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment, something that becomes even more important as we age. Because when we have something that excites us, something that makes us eager to wake up in the morning, life takes on a whole new level of richness. And the best part? That sense of purpose is always within reach, no matter where you are in life. There's something powerful about having a reason to wake up in the morning with excitement. Something that gives your day meaning beyond just going through the motions. And that's exactly what learning something new can provide, a sense of purpose that keeps life fulfilling no matter your age. Think about a time when you were completely absorbed in something. Maybe you were working on a project, reading a book that captured your imagination, or even planning a trip. There was a goal in front of you, something that kept you engaged and eager to keep going. That feeling doesn't have to fade with age. In fact, having a purpose becomes even more important as we grow older. Many people find that after retirement, when the daily routine of work is gone, they start to feel a little lost. The structure, the challenges, the responsibilities, it all changes. And while some people embrace the freedom, others struggle with the question, what now? But here's the truth. Purpose isn't something that disappears when one chapter of life ends. It's something we can create at any time. Learning something new gives you a goal, something to strive for, and that alone can bring an incredible sense of fulfillment. It doesn't matter if it's learning to play an instrument, mastering a new language, or even trying a new style of exercise. The process itself of setting a goal, working toward it, and seeing progress creates a sense of excitement and accomplishment that adds meaning to every day. And it's not just about personal satisfaction. Having a sense of purpose has been linked to better overall well-being, including lower stress levels and even a longer lifespan. Studies have shown that people who remain mentally and socially engaged tend to live longer, healthier lives. When your brain is actively learning, it stays sharper. And when you have something to look forward to, your mindset stays positive. Have you ever noticed how people who are passionate about something seem to have a certain energy about them? That spark, that enthusiasm, it's contagious. Whether it's a person in their 60s taking up photography or someone in their 80s writing their first book. The act of learning fuels a sense of aliveness that can't be faked. And this isn't just theory, it's real. There are countless stories of people who have discovered new passions later in life. Take Ernestine Shepard, for example. She didn't start bodybuilding until she was in her 50s, and by her 70s, she became the world's oldest competitive female bodybuilder. Or consider someone like Grandma Moses, who didn't begin her painting career until she was in her 70s, but went on to become one of the most famous folk artists in America. These stories aren't just about success. They're about proving that it's never too late to find something you love, something that excites you, and something that makes you feel truly alive. And the best part? Purpose doesn't have to be something grand. It can be as simple as mastering a new recipe, learning how to edit photos on a computer, or taking up gardening in a way you never have before. It's about finding joy in the process, in the challenge, and in the act of growing, because growth doesn't stop at any age. Beyond personal satisfaction, learning something new also has a way of strengthening our problem-solving skills. When we challenge ourselves, our brains form new connections, allowing us to think in different ways and approach situations with more creativity. This is why people who continue to learn tend to be more adaptable and open to change, because their minds are trained to embrace new challenges rather than fear them. And that's exactly what we'll explore in Part 4. The way learning fosters creativity and problem-solving skills, allowing us to navigate life with more ease and excitement. Because the ability to adapt, to think outside the box, and to find joy in the unknown is what keeps life rich and full at any stage. Creativity isn't something reserved for the young or for artists. It's something we all have, something that grows when we challenge ourselves with new experiences. And when we continue to learn, our ability to think creatively and solve problems expands in ways we never imagined. Think about it. Every time you learn something new, your brain makes fresh connections. Whether it's picking up a musical instrument, solving a puzzle, or figuring out how to use a new piece of technology, your mind is actively working to find solutions. And this ability doesn't disappear with age. In fact, studies show that older adults who regularly engage in learning new skills develop sharper problem-solving abilities than those who stick to familiar routines. But creativity isn't just about art or music. It's about how we approach life. It's the ability to think outside the box, to adapt when things don't go as planned, and to see possibilities where others see obstacles. It's what allows a person in their 70s to reinvent themselves, to take up a new hobby, start a side business, or even write a book. And here's something interesting. Learning something new encourages a mindset of curiosity, which in turn keeps life exciting. When we're curious, we ask questions, we seek out new experiences, and we become more open to different perspectives. This kind of thinking keeps our minds flexible, allowing us to embrace change rather than resist it. Think of someone who decides to learn a new language in their later years. At first, it might seem daunting. New words, new grammar rules, a whole new way of communicating. But as they progress, they not only gain a valuable skill, but also a new way of looking at the world. They start to notice patterns, connect ideas, and even improve their memory. The process itself rewires the brain, making it stronger and more adaptable. And adaptability is key to navigating life. The ability to embrace change, to problem solve, and to see challenges as opportunities rather than setbacks is one of the greatest gifts lifelong learning can offer. It means that no matter what comes your way, you have the tools to handle it with confidence. And confidence, real confidence, comes from knowing that you are capable of growth at any stage of life. It's easy to fall into the mindset that certain things are too late or not meant for us. But the reality is, the only limitation is the one we place on ourselves. Every time you learn something new, you prove to yourself that growth is lifelong, that you are still evolving, still capable, still full of potential. And that's really the message of this entire conversation. It's never too late, whether it's learning to paint, to cook a new dish, to dance, to build something with your hands, or to master a skill you never had time for before. Every new thing you learn, enriches your life in ways that go beyond the skill itself. It keeps your mind sharp, your confidence strong, your sense of purpose alive, and your ability to think creatively intact. So, if there's something you've always wanted to try, something you've been curious about but never took the first step, let this be the moment you decide. Start small, start today, and remind yourself that growth never stops. And now, I want to hear from you. What's something new that you've learned recently? Or what's something you've always wanted to try but haven't yet? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories, and who knows, your experience might inspire someone else to take that first step too. If this conversation resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more discussions like this. And if you know someone who could use a little encouragement to try something new, share this with them. Let's keep this conversation going, because learning never ends, and neither does the opportunity to grow. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and remember, it's never too late to start something new.